We have arrived after hanging out in Seattle with friends for a couple days. We are now in Pier 66, or at Pier 66. It's not much to see behind me, but beautiful views just on the other side. And we're going to be boarding Norwegian Encore in just a couple minutes here for a 7-night Alaskan cruise. Wait the long line along the street to get in, but it's moved really quick. All checked in through security and getting ready to walk on the ship. Door to door, I'd have to check my phone, but it was probably about 30 or 40 minutes. It's a little longer than I'm used to, but not too bad. We are on board. The sun's coming out in Seattle. It was a really nice day the last couple days. Now we're feeling a little more settled. On board Encore here in Seattle, and it is just another beautiful day. We really lucked out with Seattle weather. You can see downtown, the financial district. I mentioned it took 30, 40 minutes to board. It wasn't too bad. It kept moving, so that kept it from feeling slow. And then when we got on, they said, oh, rooms aren't going to be available until 2 to 2:30. So I was like, oh, what do I want to do with all of our bags? They said, oh, you can actually go over to Los Lobos, which is one of the specialty restaurants on deck 8 aft. Drop your bags there, we'll give you a ticket and you can pick them up later. So
yeah, it's
good
great.
plan.
That was actually,
yeah, I like that. And that wasn't like part of like any sort of like different lines of you have the key or faster the fun. That was just what you can do. So that was pretty handy. So I think now we're going to grab something to eat. And I don't know, maybe it's like so warm, I almost want to get in the pool. But food
yeah,
first.
right. The water temperature.
I have not checked the water. I will change my mind immediately. Embarkation day. Where do you find the buffet where all of the people are? Everyone calm down. We successfully found vegetarian Indian food. The jig is up. We got some food, and then we're just hanging out, kind of resting on this little sun deck here, deck 18, just before the Haven area. And what I knew, and what Audrey knew, is that our friend Mario, who if you watch our Cancun video from like 2021, surprised Larissa in Cancun. Drink around here. Our friend Mario did the same on this sailing, so we arranged that.
I made a friend on the elevator.
Bon voyage! I'm not going to work.
Oh my god! Again. So easy to do.
And it's almost time now to go to our rooms, which I'm looking forward to. I like just unpacking and not having to think about anything. Well, the surprises actually weren't over, apparently, because what I didn't know, I had the slightest of hunches, but I really didn't know, was that Mario was bringing our friend Crystal. So everyone was surprised. I was unpacking our bags and looked out the window and realized we are moving. So there's a sail away party happening over here on the deck 16 or so. Way to pick a bad camera angle, Billy, but it's unseasonably warm here. So there's a lot of people out here, even some people in the pools, people in bathing suits. Beautiful, beautiful day leaving Seattle. We've been hanging out here in the observation lounge all the way forward on deck 15 and sailing through Puget Sound. And we're coming up to open water. And you can see even the surface of the water looks a little bit different as we get out of the protected waters. All right, sun's down, it's a little chillier, it's a lot chillier, but apparently I'm gonna try and go in the pool. That was a mistake. The water was so much warmer than the air, but still so cold. And then now I'm just freaking dying. I'm gonna get like 7 towels and walk back to the room. I need food. We're walking into the Manhattan dining room. This is one of the complimentary dining rooms, one of the 3 main dining rooms, if you will, here on Norwegian Encore. And when I was on Escape, when I toured Escape many years ago, it became one of my favorite rooms. Just a beautiful space. I think you appreciate it more when there's light out because there's windows all around us, but it's a pretty room. Finished with dinner and just taking a little walk here on deck. I think this is 7, the promenade deck, just with the lifeboats. And not the greatest views, but it's pitch black out there anyway. It's a little chilly, but not too cold. And The goal right now is for no one to slip and hit their head, like what was happening when I had this walk on Prima back in November last year. You can check that video in the links below. Find out why we went to the medical center. And we've time traveled once again. I was last night still jet lagged, and we were out late the night before with friends. So I don't even remember where we left off, I guess right after dinner. So it is the first full day of the cruise. It's a sea day. We're just a little bit north of Vancouver right now, and it was rough all night. I don't know if you can really tell through the window, but there's a really large swell. And I think last night we were moving more than I've ever felt on a ship of this size, but I love it. Don't know what's in store yet today. Had some breakfast. Now I'm just gonna explore. We're exploring the ship with a mission. One espresso, and we passed the Starbucks and there was a big line. I know other bars have espresso makers, but not the ones we've seen so far. We've stopped at the observation lounge to get some espresso and also, and this is where we were hanging out yesterday. It's really beautiful. Right now there's an audio track going over the history of Alaska, and throughout the day there are a bunch of different things. I don't know if all of them are recorded, some of them are video, some of them are lectures, but all about Alaska and the places that we're going. Something that I enjoy about sailing is that you don't really do that in the Caribbean, but you do in other places. But another cool thing is because of all the motion, I don't know if you'll be able to see, probably not, the horizon, but it is going up and down over there. Industry in Alaska. Only about 500 farms exist in the state. All right, now I've had coffee and I'm wearing a jacket and we're outside. We've got some blue skies now with a little bit of mist in the air, but unfortunately they've closed the pools, which stinks because I love when the pools are all wavy. I think we just enjoyed trivia. And now we're gonna go get some food. Interesting, the smoking area out on deck is like, it's like a fishbowl, like they just do in airports. You bring one Canadian and all of a sudden everyone's hanging out outside on an Alaskan cruise in October. This is a pineapple surplus. So Norwegian has a program where they have sustainable cocktails made from kind of leftover things on the ship. So this is the one that they've got going right now. On Prima, I remember they had like a whole restaurant or a whole bar with several of them. There's a croissant one made with coffee grounds. Neat idea. I got my pineapple surplus. Logically, right, a nice pineapple drink while in a cold climate. And I don't know if you can see, it looks like there's some rain coming, so we should probably head inside. Hanging out in the hot tub north of Vancouver. Had a nice time in the hot tub. Getting out was so rough. Then went back to the room and, walking out of my light here, went back to the room and we napped. It was exactly the way that you should spend a sea day, in my opinion. So now I'm gonna go to a little gathering and then we'll have some dinner. Audrey's still back in the room getting ready. She napped longer than everyone else. But looking for a fun time tonight because we don't get to Juneau until later tomorrow in the afternoon. Heading to that gathering. It's in the observation lounge, and I'm sure you've seen, we've been here quite a bit already, but it's a really pretty room. Even when it's getting dark, so the views are limited now. But it's just a really relaxing place to hang out. Sometimes there's some live music up all the way at the forward end, and that's where we're heading now. We were taking a walk after dinner and here's some music coming from here and realized British Invasion is playing. That's one of the feature shows here in the theater on Norwegian Encore, so we'll go check that out for a minute. It's a cool light fixture. Dinner time. We're going to check out the third main dining restaurant, which is Savor, right across from Taste.
Oh, it works.
Dinner was good, but I think this is probably going to be the star here. It's an after 8 mint chocolate mousse. I did order room service breakfast, just as mostly to get some coffee in the room, but I had heard the omelet was good, and you know what? It actually is. It's very surprising because usually room service breakfast on ships, except for honestly Virgin, is kind of garbage, but it's not a bad omelet. Now the cruise starts, at least in my mind. I know it feels different in Alaska. We a couple hours away from Juneau. We get there at we'll probably arrive around 1:30 or 2. And I'm not stepping outside there because that looks cold.
Billy from the editing room talking. I wanted to put this in not only so you could see the whales that we caught from the balcony, but also hear the reaction of other passengers. It was really just an amazing experience.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. There she goes.
After just sitting out on our balcony for hours watching for whales and watching the beautiful scenery pass by, realized we should probably have lunch before we go out on shore. So just looking for the rest of our crew here. He's over by the whiskey bar. And hi, Audrey. And then we'll get some food. All right, we found them just outside of the whiskey bar. But look at this. This is amazing.
I'm gonna stop sharing my hotspot.
We're just approaching Juneau. Everyone's phones just started working because ship cellular network turned off. This area, by the way, is it's called Ocean Walk, and it's the name of the promenade on some NCL ships. And there's seating for specialty restaurants and different bars, so you can enjoy meals or drinks outside, or it's just a nice, slightly more interesting looking place to relax than a bare promenade. You can get some sort of whiskey, I presume. Hey, Mario. Juneau just ahead. Coming by the Taste restaurant here for lunch. And remember NCL, their whole freestyle thing. So there's the dress code. You see, a bit more lenient than a lot of other contemporary cruise lines. No short shorts. We ended up eating at the local, which is like the sports bar, sort of, not really. Somewhat limited menu, but it was on there on Primo a couple times. It's really good. It's open 24 hours. We did that instead of Taste because the main dining rooms had a half-hour wait for a party of 5, and we should have thought about the fact that everyone was going to be going to lunch at the exact same time before we go ashore. It's now like 1:52, I think, and they said we're already cleared to go ashore. So just finishing up dessert because we made a stop here at Coco's on deck, 7, I think. And there is an upcharge to all of this. However, I'm a sucker for chocolates. So you have individual little chocolates like that and some other upcharge desserts. And there's also gelato. Look at this chocolate thing. I don't know what it is, but I want to eat it. I got a couple pieces of chocolate, very colorful. Orange, coconut, strawberry. It's official. We are in Alaska. Just walked off the ship here in Juneau. And I think last time we berthed up further ahead, so let's see what we need to do here. Taking a walk into town. There's Mount Roberts. There's the tramway station we'll be heading up to later.
Just walking back from a quick pharmacy stop.
Always nice to feel welcome.
Really nice.
Errands complete and stopped for some little random Alaska souvenirs, which I don't know if it's like souvenir shop kind of thing, like, oh, everything's 50% off, or because it's edge of season, but everything was 50% off. And now we're getting to the tramway to go up to Mount Roberts, which the sun's in my face, but it's like there somewhere, I can't see.
I read about that. Like they were trying to get.
Longer wait than I expected, given that we're the only ship in port, but I don't know, maybe 30, 40 minutes, and we're going to be loading up in just a second. It's a counterweighted system, so there's 2 trams. One goes up, one goes down. Here comes our tram.
Yeah. The house is not that. Those are houses.
Beautiful. Lots to see. Come on, guys. You can see the tramway station in the distance, the mountain range. It's beautiful. We're going to hike at least up to there, Roberts Cross. At very least, we'll go up there, and then we'll see how much time we have. Not a lot of daylight. Still going. It can get a little slippery here. Right now, it's actually not too bad, but it takes a little bit of work. You can actually hear the water from that stream up there. Unexpected visitor up at Roberts Cross. Or Brown Cross. Somebody said Roberts before. Brown's Cross on Mount Roberts. All right, that'd be pretty cool. All right, well, everyone else stopped. A while back, we kept going. Those are the only people I've seen that went higher. You can go, I guess, all the way to there. I don't know. I'll check our altitude in a minute. Now, we're heading back down. Hopefully a lot faster, because it's starting to get a little bit dark. We've been reunited with everyone, and Audrey thinks I'm taking a picture. Still going, still got some daylight. DJ Cats and Dogs. We're heading back to the ship now. Had an awesome hike up Mount Roberts. Beautiful views, highly recommend. The tramway is neat. We jumped into a couple shops along the way, mostly looking for a spare pair of binoculars because we brought some but wanted more. And now we're going to head back to the ship. Initially we thought we were going to maybe try and have dinner on land, but then we thought, there could be a wait, and just going to head back on board Encore. So walking back now, there's a shuttle you can take. It goes between the cruise terminal and the kind of cruise area, if you will. But we're just going to walk it. It's about an 18-minute walk, I think. Now, depending on the ship you take, the cruise line, you may dock closer in. When I was here in the past, we docked right in the center of the city, so it just depends. Getting close back to the ship, the area that we just walked past had a bunch of shops, but they were all closed because, well, it's end of season. Back on board, we've cleaned up, and now it's time for dinner. Going to the teppanyaki place here, I'll tell you, it's hidden. It's really easy to walk by. There were no reservations, but we asked about to walk up, and they were able to accommodate us with a very short wait. So we were all so hungry after that hike. I think it was about 8 miles of walking. I like what they did with the menu here. It's like a room divider, kind of. Neat idea. And that is Audrey working on using chopsticks.
And Mom over there. So close.
It's morning voice, Billy. It's 8:30. We are in Skagway. Last night, I don't think I ever closed out But we had a nice dinner over at the teppanyaki place, getting into an elevator. I'll finish that thought. Out of the elevator. So, yeah, the teppanyaki place last night was fine. I personally, the way I feel about teppanyaki places on land and on sea is like, they generally can't be very bad. It's not, I don't love the whole loudness of the meal, but it was really fun because we were exhausted from all the walking and the climbing and the whatnot. So we were punch drunk. So it was a good time. Did that, had one drink and passed out because we did arrive early in Ketchikan. Now we're here, Skagway. We're here all day, but wanted to have a nice breakfast. So we had time to get organized, and then we're heading out on a train. Breakfast in the main dining room, and Audrey just went for something light. I got eggs Benedict, but with smoked salmon. All right, breakfast was good, and now back to the room for a little bit before we go out on shore. Right up against this sheer mountain here in Skagway. There, I think, is the train they'll be getting on, though we didn't book through the cruise line because it was like $70 cheaper to have our travel agent do it. So I think we meet it a little further into town. Well, so this is pretty interesting. You see sometimes cruise lines will paint rocks for the ship when it first comes into a port, and they'll usually have it along the bottom, but here they painted them along the, or they put them along the mountainside. There's one. Some others over there. We're off the ship in Skagway and just walking down the little walkway now. We do have tickets to the Whitepass Railway. That's a popular excursion here. Now through the cruise line, it was like, I don't know, $230 or something. You can book it directly. We actually had our travel agent take care of it. We'll put a link below if you want to help support Cruise Habit, YouTube channel and website, and me. Then please do yourself a favor, travel smarter. Check out touring plans, the links below. Just took a short shuttle ride from the ship to the edge of town here. It was literally like a 2-minute ride. It's kind of like if you are docked in the naval yard in Key West, where you're just not allowed to walk through it. They have to shuttle you. It takes 2 seconds, no big deal. So we're walking into the town from the shuttle stop now. If you book the Whitepass tour, the Whitepass Railway rather, if you book it through the cruise line, now you're going to pay a lot more, but you board right next to the ship. What's going to happen is just before we get on, they're going to relocate the train to the station just 3 blocks away. So you have a tiny bit of a walk if you save that $70 a person or whatever it is. Worth it to me. Audrey, as a Canadian, how's the fake snow?
Amusing.
Is it authentic?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Walking around, lots of touristy shops and whatnot. I see over there is the visitor center for the National Park Service, and I don't know if we'll check it out today, maybe, but I always recommend talking with the national parks folks. You can get often just really good information and even free or like $5 tours. A dispensary across the street from Klondike Doughboy. I'm sure that's a total coincidence. Got ourselves what they call fry bread. It's I think a native term from Klondike Doughboy. Gonna get some coffee. This is, can't wait to take a nap after this.
Yeah.
We are in position here at the train station, I guess. Walked around town a little bit, got that snack you saw, and there's some trains permanently parked, station, right over there, kind of neat. One of them's the snowplow train. And we just took our printout with our vouchers or our tickets, and they said, no, we'll be by about 15 minutes before you guys take off, and you'll board and be all set up. So here we are. This train, by the way, is constructed, I believe, in 1898 during the gold rush. I'm sure they'll talk about the history and whatnot, but it's just a pretty way to see around, I hope. Glad the weather's clearing up nicely. We are on the train. Here is the route we're taking. We started off right down here. It's a pretty simple train, but nice big windows out each side. And I think they have everyone switch sides on the way back down. Make sure you see everything. I would describe this perspective as only slightly terrifying. As you go through, there's a guide narrating over a public address system, and she just explained that the area that we just went through took over 250 tons of blasting powder to cut through the rock. Around half of the blasting powder used to cut through for the entire railroad. Everyone's paying attention to the views there, which are gorgeous. But I noticed that on the other side here, every so often you get a cool... Okay, that's a bad example. There's some much nicer waterfalls. Bridalveil Falls, 5,000 feet down from the top. I stepped outside to the other side, and here's the engine in front of us. Nothing more magical than touring Alaska with a beautiful view of toilet paper.
Editing the Whitepass footage was difficult because every turn was more beautiful and different than the next. So I appreciate your patience. Sorry if I left in too much. Just know none of this even comes close to doing it justice.
In just a minute, we're going to be going over the wooden truss bridge. Built in the late 1800s, it said rebuilt and maintained. Still though, giant train, wood bridge, seems a little... I mean, it's not a Delta flight. That looks fine. Did you see all those termites earlier? It's like my favorite part of Big Thunder Mountain Railroad.
Complete stop. At this time, I do need all passengers out off of those platforms and back inside, so they can hear me. We will have to do that mandatory seat swap at this time. So even though the train...
We're heading back down. We turned around at that steel bridge, sort of abandoned steel bridge. It was no longer used starting in 1969. Looked pretty spooky. So we flipped the seats, and everyone changed sides so everyone gets a good view, and we're traveling down. This was the first car, now it's the last, so we left the other engine behind and get this really cool perspective. It's even prettier now that the sun has burned off some more of the fog, but there's still the neat layering above. They said that this morning you couldn't see out the windows at all. We're almost back to Skagway, and these outdoor platforms have been awesome for video. If the weather's good, you try and rotate through so that everyone can get a turn. Look at the snow up there. I've probably mentioned it several times on this video or in these videos so far. We could not have done any better with the weather. This is nuts. I mean, look at the blue skies. Mid-October in Alaska. There was consensus among the group as soon as we got off the train that we needed bathrooms, beer, and fudge. Well, I said fudge. I'm sure I can get some agreement there. We're in Klondike Brewing Company, or Klondike Brewing something? Yes, company. Tried a few beers. So apparently the spruce ale The origin story there is that when they were building the railroad and expanding this area, they got scurvy. And apparently if you make a tea with the tips of the spruce trees, there's a lot of vitamin C, so then they made beer with it. So now we are avoiding scurvy. Now that we've had some beer, I'm standing here in front of the Morningwood Hotel. And I'm standing here because it's the Morningwood Hotel. So we stopped at the station for food. We got a bunch of stuff, including king crab. Now, it was not inexpensive because everything in Alaska is expensive, but Crystal, show us how that came out. Oh yeah, came out of the shell perfectly. Beautiful, beautiful. Good tender crab meat. And they're posing with crab? Okay. That was very good crab. Actually, everything was there. Everything there was pretty good. Walking back to the ship now, if I pass a place with fudge, I'm getting fudge. But I also think we have like a third of a chocolate cake in the fridge in the room from Crystal's birthday last night. We successfully did not sleep through the evening. We got back and we did lay down temporarily. I feel like there's something going on behind me in the hallway. We laid down for just a second, but didn't go to sleep. And now we're gonna head up to the observation lounge before maybe go-karts or something like that. We'll see. I stopped by the silent disco, and this is unlike any silent disco I've ever seen on land or sea. When they handed me the headset, I said, well, how do I change the channel? And he said, no, you don't need to press any buttons, just the volume control. I didn't understand. I thought there was only one channel. No, what they do is on the, just above the dance floor, there are digital screens that say 90s, 80s, 2000s, and today. And when you walk from a different position in the room, you can see my headset changing color right now. It actually changes the music that you're listening to. So if I walk over to the today section, then I hear music from today. Pretty cool. It's a great way of kind of making people walk around. That way of doing a silent disco was different. I liked it in that it made people move around, but I also kind of wish that they would have, it would work better if it was multiple rooms. How's that? I think Audrey brought that up. It's a good idea because when it's just in one room, like, it means you're just constantly like sampling and it's a small space, but it was neat. So now we're, because of the late time in port, we still hadn't had dinner. We had a late lunch. So we are only now, it's like, I don't know, 10 something o'clock. We're only now going over to the local. They have a pretty full menu there until I think it's like 3:30 in the morning. So gonna do that, have another drink, relax, maybe burn some money in the casino, which part of it's right behind me, part of it's in the atrium, part of the non-smoking part of the casino. And we'll see. You notice we haven't gone to any shows in the theater or anything like that yet. There have been comedians, and I like stand-up comedy, but it just hasn't drawn me in yet. On Friday night, we'll be checking out Choir of Man, and that's one of the feature shows, or the main feature show here on Encore, and I'm really excited to check that out.
I hope you've enjoyed following along so far, and there is a lot more ahead. The next stop on our 7-night Norwegian Encore cruise takes us to the amazing Glacier Bay, as well as Ketchikan, Alaska, and Victoria, British Columbia. In addition to gawking at glaciers, exploring a historic red light district, and roaming Victoria Harbor while singing a certain bilingual national anthem, you can learn more about Norwegian Encore and even see Larissa walk up on stage for a beer during Choir of Man. So, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Part 2 of our vlog will cover this and more. If you have questions about cruising Alaska or want to share your own tips and experiences, let us know in the comments below. We look forward to talking ship with you again real soon.
Again. So easy to do.